Today we're going to cover the 5 tools that are absolutely essential to every man's shop. This is one of the most difficult lists to narrow down. I know a lot of you out there are dying to tell me, who are you to tell me what is essential or what is not essential in my shop? Well, here's where we're coming from. We're coming from an all-around. We're coming from the perspective of a potential or maybe a current modern homesteader where you're going to have to do lots of things. You're going to have to do carpentry work. You're going to have to do vehicle maintenance. You're going to have to be doing metal and fabricating work. So some things, these are 5 things that I would not be able to live without. I'll start with obviously the most important. I don't think there's any one of you out there that would disagree with me on this, is a proper workbench. Now the question is, a wood workbench or a metal workbench? Well, that all comes down to how much fabricating you're going to do. Are you going to do welding and cutting and that sort of thing? If so, you really need to have a metal workbench. Wood workbench just won't hold up as well. One thing you can do though is what I might recommend is build yourself a really strong wood workbench. Use 2x8 material for the top. It's nice and thick and heavy. Take your saw and rip off the edges so you have nice clean edges so they fit tight and you don't get those bull noses in between there. And then get yourself a small sheet of steel that you can lay on top of that. That way if you do need to do some heavy work or pounding, then you can have both options. And that would probably be the best. What's the minimum length? Minimum length on a workbench, it should be 6 feet. 6 feet is about, you can get a lot done on that. You can have room for a vise, you can do lots of projects. I wouldn't recommend doing anything less than that. Nice to have something long like this one, which is about 16 feet, 14, 16 feet. It just gives you the option to do long things, projects, and such. But to start out with, the very first thing I would do is to build myself a proper workbench. Number 2, obviously, a vise. Again, I don't think we're going to have a lot of dissent on that. It's an absolutely essential piece of equipment, and it's an investment. Don't get me wrong, they are expensive. However, cheap ones can be found. I just logged on to eBay, and actually I'll show you over here. This is my old vise. I logged on to eBay, and there were several vices comparable to this. What you want is you want something that's American made. An older one is a good one, about a 5-inch. I think both of these are 5 or 5.5-inch vices. That will give you a good range and hold pretty much anything you need to do. I saw several vices like this and other name brands, good American old vices in good shape, 5-inch vices for under $100, that included shipping. So you can get something really comparable to this. I bought this on eBay years ago for it was about $100 with the shipping, and used it for years and years. And that is an investment that you would want to make. That is absolutely an essential part of your workbench. And number 3, I know, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to decide. There's going to be some dissension here. A floor jack. If we're talking about all around, for being able to work on equipment, part of homesteading, modern homesteading is a lot of time spent working on equipment. And you know, to be honest, things are so expensive today, a guy needs to be able to do a little bit of his own maintenance. It just is not an option for most of us to take our car to a mechanic that in shops want to charge over $100 an hour. We need to, and with the advent of YouTube and having all of the how-to stuff on there's no reason why we can't do a lot of things ourselves. Floor jack. Again, look for an older one. Even if it's not working properly, you can go and you can pull that cylinder apart or even replace it for a fraction of the cost of buying a new one and essentially have a new jack. Stay away from the Chinese-made jack. Stay away from the jacks like you see at Walmart or the ones you'll see even at Costco that claim to be 2-ton, 3-ton, and they're aluminum and they're really lightweight. They're not going to lift that. If you're going to have trucks and heavy-duty equipment and big pieces, you need a jack that's at least a 2-ton jack. This is a Snap-on 2-ton jack that I bought used, and even this is not strong enough to lift up the front of my truck. And that's not even a diesel. If you have a diesel, it's going to take even more. But what you can do is you can lift one tire at a time. So I can lift up one side and put a jack stand under, and then lift the other side. It will lift the back, but a 3-ton would be ideal. 2-ton would be the absolute minimum. But look for these on Craigslist. Look for them used places. If you have to buy a new one, the Napa jacks are not bad. I don't know, maybe you could do better. I have one, it's okay. But an old used one, I'm going to lump in with that. This is a package deal, 2 jack stands. two heavy-duty jack stands. These are 6-ton, and you do not want to work underneath a vehicle without a jack stand. If you don't have or can't afford the jack stands, get yourself some big timber, some 6x6s to crib, but I think this is a package deal. At least 2 jack stands and 1 floor jack, 2-ton or better, and you're going to be in great shape. I think number 4 and number 5 were the most difficult to choose, without a doubt. Now, we're not talking about hand tools here. What's the criteria? The criteria are, these are big tools. Tools are not going to fit in a toolbox. Tools that you're not going to move around too much are basically going to stay put or be bolted down. So we're not talking about drills and sawzalls and all that. That's a different video. These are major, big investment tools. I would say that my number 4 choice would be a table saw. Without a doubt. A table saw, you can do everything that you can. You can cross cut with it. You can do trim, you can do miters. The way that they're set up, the way that they're designed, they're super versatile. And there's a ton of these things to be found, the older ones, at garage sales. What you're looking for, ideally, if you can find one that runs off of 240, provided you have 240 in your shop, it's going to be much more efficient. It's going to cut a lot bigger stuff. Because what a table saw essentially is, it's a small in-house sawmill. It really is. I mean, you can do so much with it. You can resize lumber. You can do everything. You can cut sheet goods. You can cut plywood. You can cut plastics with it. You can even cut aluminum. Lots of different things. But a table saw is versatile. So look for a good heavy one. Look for something that's got a cast iron top on it. And the old Sears, the old Craftsman saws, they're everywhere. You can pick them up I've seen them for $20, $25 all the time at garage sales. But a table saw is absolutely an essential tool. Number 5 was the most difficult decision of all of these. I went back and forth between the bench grinder, wire brush, and the drill press. I stood here and looked at them back and forth. I thought, okay, if I could only have one, if I had to choose, if I had to give one up, which one would I give up? And I would give up the drill press. This is an essential item, and that's why it completes the list at number 5. A good quality, at least a 1/3 horsepower bench grinder. What you want is you want the combination. You want the grinding wheel here, and you want the wire brush on the other side. The grinding wheel is so effective for sharpening drill bits, tools, grinding or changing things, fabricating. It's a million different uses. I can't even go into all of them. The wire brush for cleaning up threads on bolts that won't go, for cleaning up tools that you're restoring, for removing rust. It's actually, this is, I would probably use 9 times more than I do this here, but this is an essential tool. The cream of the crop, again, as I'm always fond of saying, are the ball door motors. They're just the finest of the finest. I have 2 of these, and I bought both of them on eBay for around $100 plus shipping. To buy these brand new, you're going to be in the $300 or $400 range. I know it's expensive, but it's a one-time purchase. If you want to save a few bucks so you can't find a used one, the DeWalt's aren't too bad. Stick with the Rigids, the DeWalt's, Makita's. I don't know if they make one, but your name brand tool companies, they make pretty good ones, and they're often on sale on Amazon. I have seen them on really good deals, and they'll come with a setup just like this. And 1/2 horse, 1 horse would be really good, but a 1/3 horse would be the minimum. But a good ball door equivalent bench grinder is going to complete the list. It's tough. The last 2, tough decisions to make. And again, you may have different needs. This is not for everyone. This is just, I'm trying to put it together for an all around. If you do a lot of different things, so I'll stand by it. I think it's pretty solid. But I'd like to hear what you think. Add or subtract, and we learn by doing. We'll learn from each other. So the next video I'll upload, you can click down below there and head on over to that, is going to be the poor man's version of this. And I always get a lot of heat when I use that reference, poor man's, and it's not a derogatory term at all. We've all been poor, haven't we? I have. maybe again, I only have what I have today because God has entrusted it to me, and I operate at His mercy. What is it? How does it go? I came into the world naked, I'll come out of the world naked. So if I woke up tomorrow and everything was gone, I might be back referencing this next video and how to set up my shop with on a little bit more of a budget. But I think you'll enjoy it. Click on over there for that. And I guess that's it. So we'll see you guys. Oh, I know, we forgot Manly Manners. Manly manners. Let's do a manly manners here. I'm just going to pick a random manly manners here. Don't grudge an occasional evening at the theater. That's a lot to ask. If you spring it on her as a pleasant surprise, your wife will be all the more delighted. Pick your poison. It doesn't have to be the theater, but Mrs. Wranglerstar and I do a thing called mystery dates. We don't do it as often as we should do it, but we take turns and we alternate and all plan something and she doesn't know what it is. So we'll have my parents watch Jack, or sometimes he'll come with us. And it's a surprise. So I'll tell her what she needs to wear, if it's casual or if it's more dressed up. I have it all set up. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or anything expensive. That's not what matters. Taking your, well, it depends on your wife, but if you have a good one like I do, it would mean more to her for me to fix sandwiches that I made with my own hand and take her down by a stream somewhere and have a picnic than a $400 dinner. But that's Mrs. Wranglerstar. But you know your wife better. But enjoy the little simple things and the time you have together. And it's easy to get ground down with the cares and the worries of life. And it seems like your world, for me anyway, it closes in, it gets smaller and smaller, and your focus is on something that's really tiny. And it's usually, for us men, it's our work. But it's nice to step away from that and to get that big picture and look around and enjoy the blessings that we have and enjoy the simple things in life. Things as simple as having your favorite meal at a park somewhere, or going camping, or just going out and doing whatever, But don't miss those opportunities. So we'll see you guys over on the poor man's version.
Ooh, the heat I take every time I use the poor man's reference. Das ist verboten. No fun allowed. This is YouTube. This is serious business. Well, maybe we'll use the common man instead. It doesn't have the same connotation. There it is. If you click on that, if you guys that are watching desktop, click on the little video there, it'll take you over to the poor man's version, the common man's version of the 5 essential tools, where you can essentially do the same thing for a lot less money. So just some ideas. It's not the definitive end-all be-all answer. It's just some suggestions we learn from each other. I go to YouTube daily to learn things that I don't know. It's a tremendous resource. It's a real blessing to have it. So what else? Did you click the thumbs up? Now's a good time. If you'd like to see some of the tools used in the making of this video, you can go to my store, shop wranglermart.com. wranglermart.com. We'll take you there, and I'll feature some of my favorites there. And that's it. Don't forget to thumbs up. We'll see you guys on the next video.